preparing and scoring well on those tests. So just a few added benefits outside of the fun of math. Okay, so wait, can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. Okay, so just for a little concept that I want to cover today, focuses on word problems in algebra. So algebra is universal. You're going to use it in any problem you have, whether it focuses on geometry or any concept. You're going to be using some form of algebra in your work. And so one of the things that a lot of people forget is that you have to ignore all of the unnecessary information, or what I like to call the fluff, extra info that they put in. So I've included a pretty simple question here. It says, for the holidays, Mai and Taya will travel over the river and through the woods to their grandmother's house, a total distance of 495 miles. If the car they will drive uses, on average, a gallon of gasoline every 33 miles, how many gallons of gas will the girls use to drive to their grandmother's house? So for this one, I would say it's pretty intuitive. It's pretty intuitive that you just have to do 495 divided by 33. But sometimes the problems will give you a lot of extra info in terms of numbers, which will make it more confusing, because then you'll have to figure out which numbers are actually of value to you and which ones are there just to add the extra confusion. But for this one, I would say that the extra info that's completely unnecessary for this problem are the words like they're driving through the woods to their grandmother's house, and just the extra info there. Whenever you're doing problems, especially in terms of if you need to do them quickly, it's important that you train yourself to look over this additional info and only find what's necessary in the problem. But anyways, the solution to this problem, you would do the total number of miles over the amount of miles that 1 gallon will take you, and you divide them. 495 divided by 33, and that takes you to 15. So the answer is 15 gallons. Okay, so now I just want to run through a few information, some information about the North-South contest itself. So starting off with the 3 levels to the Math B specifically, there's MB1, MB2, and MB3, and they're split up into grades 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, and 8, respectively. Now, some of you may have noticed that there has been a change to the competition rules and the way that it's formatted. So now, instead of having 2 different phases, the test will now have 1 singular phase, and it will have 20 multiple choice, 10 free response, all condensed within 1 exam, and you'll have a total of 40 minutes to complete all of those questions. So some rules that we have to adhere for the contest. It is in person. You'll get 1 point for a correct answer and 0 for an incorrect answer. You don't get any partial credit. And because they don't take away any points for incorrect answers, there are no penalties for guessing. So one of the biggest tips is never leave an answer blank. Even if you don't know, take an educated guess or just a wild guess. Just never leave an answer blank, because you never know when you could be correct. You can use a blank sheet. You can use a blank sheet of paper, pen, and pencil, but some of the things that are prohibited for use are calculators, books, any sort of outside or external help. So once you get the slides, you can click more on the link that will direct you to the website, and it'll give you a more detailed information on how they break ties and how they determine the winners, and just more information about the rules and regulations for the contest. So registration generally closes 2 weeks before the contest date, but obviously this varies between chapters, so I would recommend reaching out to the chapter organizer and figuring out when, for your chapter, the registration date closes, and any information will be posted on the site as soon as the information is available. And this is just a little picture showing you where to go. So if you click on the link that I showed you, or just go to NorthSouth Foundation's website, you can direct yourself to the Math B portion, and it will give you, it's kind of blocked here, but it'll give you the syllabus, the rules, preparation, FAQ. It'll have different sections for everything that you need. All right, so now for preparation, NSF graciously gives you a resource list in the preparation tab, and that will give you the contest syllabus, so like the breakdown of what topics are going to be covered on the exam, as well as some opportunities for North-South coaching, which will be talked upon later. And then also a few additional resources like Singapore Math, Khan Academy, and AOPS. And these can provide any outside problems, any means for practice that could be helpful outside of just the North-South preparation syllabus. And once again, if you go to the website and go under the syllabus tab, it'll give you some sample problems for each level. And once you get the slides, you can click on the link or direct yourself. All right, so just a few resources based on grade levels. For MB1, it's recommended to use criticalthinking.com, Khan Academy, Math Kangaroo, or Singapore Math. These are typically tailored towards newcomers into the math scene, and so it'll have very great step-by-step explanations for new concepts, and it's a really great teaching like device for anyone who's like stepping into the math scene. For MB2, some of the same resources translate over like Khan Academy and Singapore Math, but it obviously gets a little more challenging, and so that's where problem sets from Math League or Math Olympiad could be really helpful because they can have a lot more complex topics integrated to the problems. And then finally for MB3, obviously this is the most complex, and so some great practice materials could be using past Math Counts tests or the Math Counts handbooks, Math Counts Oplet. You could use Khan Academy, once again, Math League, Math Olympiad, and also Alchemist or any of the AOPS books are really great helps to prepare. And these are just a few examples of the Singapore Math books that you could use, examples for MB1 or MB2. And just a few more resources if you want to see a visual of how the books look. And then for MB3, I would say for MB2, starting with the AOPS pre-algebra book would be pretty good, or maybe also some MB3 students, but using volume 1 and volume 2 of the AOPS books is really helpful because it gives you a lot of insight into literally any topic that you need. So that would be my recommendation for people that are more experienced with math competitions to go into using the volume 1 and volume 2 from AOPS. And if you want to check out any information about the prep clubs, once you get the slides, you can click on this link and it'll direct you to the learning journey and it'll tell you any information that you need about the NSF learning journey prep clubs. Yeah, and if you guys have any questions, please feel free to contact me whenever. Thank you.
I think you're muted.
But I can't hear you.
Thanks. Sorry. I'm Harini. I'm a senior in high school. I'm probably going to study neuroscience and math in college. I'm a USA Junior Math Olympiad qualifier and a 3-time Math Prize for Girls qualifier. In the past, I've coached some of NorthSouth's Math Counts workshops, and I sing in my free time. I think that was mostly covered in my bio, but there are a lot of competition opportunities for students looking for competition experience. I think a really good way to get involved in competition math is just to go to competitions. Of course, that is limited by like where you live, and like local competitions are really great because there are a lot of students in your local area, so you can meet a lot of other students who do math competitions, and you can get experience with contest problems. Like preparation at home is great, but these local contests will give you, again, like community with other students that do math competitions, and also like exposure to the kinds of problems that you'll see on other competitions as well. So there are a lot of competition opportunities. Anywhere your local high school or university should actually offer a lot, but I think the big two are probably Math Counts and the AMC series. The AMC series by the Mathematical Association of America, MAA, that's the pipeline for the IMO team. So that's sort of the central pipeline of math competitions, I think, in the US. They start with the AMC 8 and the AMC 10. The AMC 8 is for generally middle school and elementary school students, and the AMC 10 is for any students under 10th grade. In 11th and 12th, you can take the AMC 12. And so you can take those competitions, and if you do well on the AMC 10 or 12, then you qualify for the AME, which then qualifies you for the USAMO or the USAJMO, after which there's a pipeline that leads to the International Math Olympiad and being selected for the USA team. The other sort of central math competition that I think is most popular is Math Counts. And that's a competition for middle schoolers generally, and there are lots of local chapters that you can qualify for your state competition and then your national competition after that. And so you should, if you're a middle school student, you can reach out to your middle school to ask about whether they have a Math Counts team and how you can get involved. I think there are a lot of smaller opportunities. So some of the more national ones are like MOEMs, which Habisha brought up, the Math Olympiad for elementary and middle schools. And that one is also through your school. There's other competitions like Math Kangaroo and the Noetic Learning Math Competition, as well as NorthSouth, which are all really great competitions that give you exposure to these contest problems, and are also not super high stakes, right? I guess there's a lot on this slide. I'm not going to talk about everyone individually. You can also reach out to your local high school or university, like Harvard, Stanford, Caltech. All of these run math competitions, but so do like Berkeley, Rice University in Texas, Texas A&M. Most of your local universities should run a math competition like this. So you can just reach out and move on. The NorthSouth also offers asynchronous math coaching. This is, I believe, a new initiative that's running. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about that. It's designed to build contest-ready fluency and problem-solving habits, and it's developed by longtime volunteers like Mr. Narayana Janga, who's also been working on revamping the curriculum into like the learning journey curriculum with other volunteers like Dr. Meenakshi Radhakrishnan, Ms. Saumya Badina, and Ms. Priya Rajan. So the asynchronous math coaching involves weekly learning. So you'll have a 15-minute concept video taught by a volunteer that'll cover core ideas and have some quick checks for students to ensure that they understand the material. And then you'll have a 45-minute problem-solving video wherein that volunteer will solve practice problems, about 30 problems in each video, practice problems on the concept that you just learned. And then afterwards, you'll have practice assessments and practice problems that are aligned to that theme. And so every week you'll have an assessment. There are 3 tiers, beginning, intermediate, and advanced, and you can go for whichever tier fits you best. The mastery threshold is 70%, which means students will take these assessments, score reports will be emailed to you, and if you get above a 70% on that concept, that means you've mastered the concept and you can move on. If you get less than a 70%, you'll be given retakes to master each tier in order to make sure that you've mastered that concept before you move on. You'll get retakes until you've mastered that concept. Since this is asynchronous, it is technically a 12-week curriculum. It's 12 weeks of cumulative preparation for the MB3 exam, which is March to April 2026. But students can advance as fast or as slow as they wish. So if you're picking up the concepts really quickly, you can go faster. If a certain concept is giving you trouble, you can go faster on other concepts, but slower on that one concept, or you can just take it week by week at your own pace. This is kind of an overview of the 12-week curriculum. I'm probably not going to go into much detail here, but this is sort of what we're going to cover. It's a lot of the concepts that are covered on the MB3 exam, and their weekly assessments and targeted retakes, yeah. So this is sort of this is a comprehensive overview of like algebra, number theory, geometry, counting, and probability, all of the concepts that you'll need for the MB3 competition. I'm going to talk about a really quick number theory problem. I think one tip in number theory is to think bigger, so not necessarily to get bogged down in the specific numbers that you're working with, but to think a little bit more meta in a sense. So if you have the problem, a palindrome is a number that is the same forwards and backwards, like 1,331 or 9,999. However, 5,656 is not a palindrome because backwards it's 6,565. It's not the same. So if you wanted to find the sum of all 4-digit positive integer palindromes, that's hard to do if you take every number individually. So we're trying to look for a different way to calculate the sum, right? So what we want to think about is, if you look at the palindromes, it's like 1001, 1111, and so on and so forth. So how many times does each digit from 0 to 9 appear in the thousands place or the hundreds place, right? Each digit is from 1 to 9 is going to appear in the thousands place 10 times, right? Because as you can see here, you have 1001, 1111, 1221, and so on and so forth until 1991. So you have 10 numbers like that, and 10 for every digit that appears in the thousands place. But in the hundreds place, each digit is actually going to appear 9 times, because you have, in the hundreds digit, you have 1001, 2002, 3003, 4004, up until 9009. So that's 9 times for the hundreds place. And so on and so forth if you do that. Then you can use this to sum up all the possible 4-digit palindromes. So for example, if you tried to, kind of an intro into the way we're going to do that is, if you were trying to sum 1,221 and 5,445, you could sum them directly, or you could break it up into the each sort of place, right? So you have the thousands places, which sum to 6,000, the hundreds places, which sum to 600, the tens places, which sum to 60, and the ones places, which sum to 6. Right? And so that's one way that you can get the sum. If we do this with these, with all of the 4-digit palindromes, we want to calculate the sum of the digits in all of the thousands places, which is 1 through 9, right? And each digit appears 10 times, right? So we have, each digit appears 10 times, right? So we have, so each digit appears 10 times. So we have 450 times 45, which is the sum of the numbers from 1 through 9, times 10 is 450. So the sum of the thousands places values is 450 times 1,000, which is 450,000, right? The sum of all the digits in the hundreds places is from 0 through 9, and each digit appears 9 times, right? So it's the sum from 0 through 9, which is 45, times 9, which is 405. And because it's in the hundreds place, we have to multiply by 100 to get 40,500. For the sum of the tens places, we do the same as the hundreds, because the numbers are palindromes. So the tens digits are going to be the same as the hundreds digits. So that sum is 405. And so the sum of the tens places values is that multiplied by 10, which is 4,050. The sum of all the units places is the same as the thousands, right? 450. So because it's a palindrome. So the sum of the units places values is 450 times 1, because it's the units place. We don't have to multiply by anything, is 450. If you sum all 4 of those, then you've essentially gotten the sum of all of the 4-digit palindromes, because you've summed all of the 4 places in the number individually, right? And so if you sum those, you get the sum, which is 495,000. So that's a lot easier than summing up all of the 90 4-digit palindromes. So yeah, that's it.
Hi everyone, my name is Sharva. I'm a junior at MIT, planning on starting my master's also in CS and at MIT. And so in the past, I've done a lot of like math competitions. I've been involved with NSF coaching for quite a while, been helping create some of the materials for the classes in the past. And I'm also very involved playing the guitar. I used to do speech and debate, many other things like science competitions and things like that. So yeah, that's just a little bit of background about me. So I am going to be talking about the other panelists to spend a lot of time discussing different content materials. So I guess what I want to focus on is kind of another side of math, which is like, I guess when it comes to actually solving the problems, what are you looking for? And so I think that's something that's very important for especially math competitions, but also just in general when your kids are studying math, is a lot of these problems involve patterns, and a lot of it is essentially just trying to extract what patterns are within the problem. And so I think something that's very useful, especially for a subject like geometry, is visualizing the problem first before you even begin solving. And so I think just practicing being able to like read a problem and understand how it actually looks on paper is a very valuable skill. So this is just a simple problem from the AMC 8, problem number 2. And in it, they give us a rectangle and they give us some of the side lengths. So they give us that its base is 6 and its height is 8. And then they tell us that there's a point that's the midpoint, and they ask you for the area of the triangle. So here I've given a diagram of the problem, but obviously in the contest, they don't always provide diagrams like this, and so it's up to you to be able to visualize it. Now, what's very important for questions like these is once you actually have the diagram, you need to kind of recognize what are we actually trying to do, where is the pattern in it? And so this is something I think the NSF classes are very good at, which is they give a lot of practice on recognizing these patterns, knowing these formulas, knowing exactly what kind of things you need to be looking for. And so, for example, one of the things that we cover in the intro math classes for NSF is how to find the area of different shapes, parallelograms, triangles, rectangles, squares, all of those types of shapes, and then also more complex shapes as well. And so the formula that we're looking for here is 1/2 base times height. And applying this onto this problem makes it extremely simple because now we know that the height is 6 of this triangle, the dotted red line, and then we also have the base of the triangle. So in this problem, the key concept that they're trying to kind of test here is, like in many problems, being able to take the information and actually translate it to a form where now, once you have a diagram for it, it's something that you would have seen some similar problems in the past, and you would have practiced things like this. So when it comes to these math problems and these math competitions, I think that a couple important things to look out for. First is mastering the basics. So making sure that you're spending the time to revise consistently until it's kind of a secondhand nature. All these fundamental concepts, for example, in geometry, you have triangle properties, angles, area perimeter, different theorems that might show up. And in order to find lists of these topics, there's many resources online. For example, the ones that we've already covered, or like Art of Problem Solving, all these different websites. The NSF coaching classes have a very structured rhythm for how to go through each topic. They have notes, and all these things will tell you what you need to know. On top of that, it's really a lot of consistency. You need to be able to recognize these patterns, like symmetries, any relationships in the problems that are appearing. You need to essentially just practice consistently. And so for that, there's many different places, past contest problems from NorthSouth, Math Counts, and the AMC. Now, something I want to also talk about is if your kid is starting to get involved in math and is very interested in math, outside of just like contests and these like online ways to learn, there's also other alternatives. For example, it's worth reaching out and see if in your local area, now there's becoming more common like things like math circles and local math clubs where you can bring your child and see if they also can meet other people who are interested in math in the area. Also, even if your kid is younger than, like say in middle school, sometimes it might be possible for them to get involved in high school, like with the high school math clubs, especially if they're excelling very fast, they can get involved with higher level math. And there's also a lot of opportunities in math outside of all these contests, especially as you move into high school. I think it's very important that people, even if you're good at math, make sure you're getting involved in other things. For example, there's lots of opportunities for coaching through NorthSouth, but also through other ways. For example, you could coach math at a local middle school. You could teach math competition classes for people in your math club, things like that. There's many different ways for you to get involved with coaching. And I think that really helps you get even better at math because you start to get practice explaining concepts, and that easily translates as you grow older. It's one of those things that translates very well. So that's all the content I have for my slides, and so I'll give it off now.
I can share my screen now. Yeah, Anil. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let me share. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
we can
sir.
see it.
Okay. All right. Thank you to the NorthSouth Foundation, first of all, and thank you for the amazing students who presented on what it takes to be a champion. And what I thought we will do is share some of our experiences with running math contests for NorthSouth Foundation and how to prepare for some of these. So the topic is how to behave like a math champion. So as you all know that we've been doing this NorthSouth Foundation math contest for decades, and they've been very successful. And from the NorthSouth Foundation perspective, the question is, why would students want to join in? Well, math is fun. We're introducing math concepts. We are generating enthusiasm and love for math. We're teaching problem solving skills to the students. And through these contests, we are strengthening mathematical intuition. And finally, we're setting up your kids for lifelong success and excellence, and that speaks for itself. And that's one of the major goals of NorthSouth Foundation. So the kids who joined in today, congratulations. You're already a champion because you've taken the time, you've shown interest, and you have a passion to learn. So before we delve into some of the, hello?
Hi, Neil.
Yeah.
Can I just add one question here?
Yeah.
If we can all please share like which grade level you or your grade is participating.
Okay. Yeah, you can put that in the chat box, right?
Oh, it's already, they should see it on the screen.
You should see
If everybody can. Oh, nobody's seeing it?
Yeah, we see it. We see it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll just wait a couple of seconds. So hopefully I see that 40%, 60%. Just wait one more. Okay, cool. Thanks. And end and share results. Close polls. Oh, wait, you didn't share the results. I said share results. 1 second. Yeah, share results. So we have 43% is 6 to 8 graders, 27 is 4 to 5 graders, and so on. So just one more question, so that we just I'll just so launch. If you can answer this also. So we have, I think, like the panelists mentioned already, we have regional contests, including math, science, geography, spelling, vocabulary, public speaking, essay writing. Most of the chapters, they've opened up for registration already. So please let us know if you've already registered, or if you are going to register soon, or if you have not decided yet on participating. So check your NorthSouth portal. When you log in, you will see the chapter that's closest to you, so you can register there. I see that 70% already voted, so I'll just say end poll, share results. So we see that 32% have already registered for the contest. So 43% are interested in register soon, and 25% who have not decided yet. So hopefully what Dr. Anil, Dr. Raj, and the panelists are sharing now will be useful for you to decide. Thank you. Please go ahead, Anil.
All right. Thank you very much, Vinay. Yeah. So what I will go back to sharing my presentation with you, and hopefully the goal of doing all this, and thanks to the amazing panelists and students, the goal really is to generate interest and love for math, as well as get you looking forward to and start preparing for the math contests that are going to be happening. And math contests should be really considered as a fun learning activity, not as a pressure or anything. So you should first enjoy learning math skills, learning problem solving, exploring different concepts, and then when the contest comes, you kind of put all those pieces together. And it's an evolving process. You're gonna grow in your math skills day by day, year by year, and then you'll look back and say, well, I can do these things that I wasn't able to do previously. And then you start sharing it with the other students, other kids in your school or on NorthSouth, or even with your parents and siblings. And that's when the joy comes in. And that's really what we want to share with you today. So let me go back and see if I can pick up where I left off. So okay, wonderful. So as we were talking about, everyone wants to be a champion, right? We all have the desire to be a champion. The question is, what are the character traits? And the character traits, I'm sure a lot of those character traits you already possess. And most important thing to remember is that the letter P is very important for champions. It comes in the middle of their name. So P, why we insist on P? Because P is the passion to learn. All of you have a passion to learn from, and that's why you're here. Um, in order for you to, once you have the passion to learn, it also follows that you need to be able to be prepared. And when we're talking about prepare, you need to plan. And when you plan and follow that with preparation, and then of course the performance in the math contests. Uh, Occasionally you're going to come across some obstacles in your journey, but the champions persist and stay positive. They are never held back, or they don't consider these as setbacks, and then they just kind of use that as an encouragement to keep moving. And you need to push your limits. You need to do better than what you did yesterday. And finally, you need to pay it forward. As our champion stated, that they learn better when they teach others. So you not only need to learn, but you teach others, and in the process of teaching, you also enhance your learning skills. Some preparation tips. Um, you need to be proactive, always be looking for opportunities to learn, and such as this session that you're attending today. Look for problems that seem unique or different from the ones that you've done before. And sometimes problems may be simple, but they're camouflaged. They appear to be difficult, but they're actually very simple. So if you just kind of take the layers off, the difficulty layers off of that, you'll find that the problems at the core are quite simple. And that's where the problem solving skills come into play. Look for new concepts, new ideas, new problems, and practice. There's no shortcut to excelling in these contests. And you need to keep polishing your problem solving skills. You often will find that there are often different ways of approaching a problem. And sometimes alternate methods teach you something unique about the problem, and also connecting the dots. Sometimes you have two different problems that may seem quite different from each other, but if you go deeper, you'll find that they're connected. And mental math skills, everyone should practice these without pencil and paper. Sometimes just kind of let the problem percolate in your mind, and also develop some tricks on how to quickly solve a problem using just mental math, without calculators, without pencil, without paper. And that's kind of connected with the speed math. So since we are all math lovers, we wanted to say, is there a math connection between the passion to learn, the preparation, the planning, and the ultimate result, which is success and winning? And it turns out there is. If you start by saying that the letter A is 1, and B is 2, and C is 3, and so on, then you find that the letter P, which stands for preparation and passion, is 16, success S is 19, and winning W, which is 23. And if we call these P1, P2, P3 are just prime numbers, or you can also think of them as extra effort, then you find that success is connected to preparation and passion by just a prime number or a little extra effort. And that is success is 19, and preparation P is 16. So 16 plus a prime number gives you 19, which is success. So similarly, you can find other connections between passion to learn and success and winning. This presentation will be shared with you, so you can go into this in your free time. Some of the other problem solving tips that our champions shared with you, always make a picture. That helps your mind calm down oftentimes, and also gives you a full picture of what's happening with the problem. Organize, find a pattern, or make a model. This is extremely helpful. Sometimes the problem may seem very difficult because It's got large numbers, but if you make a simple pattern or a model, you start simple, you'll find that the problem is actually quite easy to solve. And sometimes you may have to work backward instead of going forward and see where you are and what the input should be to get to the answer. And we already covered that, and no pencil, paper, and mental math. So the next thing is what the parents can do. You should encourage your child, increase their confidence level by providing them with tips, resources, obviously, but also, if they sometimes get discouraged, don't let that be a setback. Give them encouragement and provide them resources. Cultivate a learning environment. Talk to them about what they're learning at school, talk to them what they're doing at home, spend some time with them, ask them questions, and show them that you're also an active learner and they follow your lead. Provide hints, helping hand, but don't necessarily solve the problems for them, help them, talk to them. Introduce daily activities and routine in their day-to-day work. Also monitor speed and accuracy. There are lots of opportunities and resources available on the internet where they can find tips and tricks and tools that will improve this. Again, mental math, it's a lot of fun, and also it cuts down on the time to solve a problem, which is extremely beneficial in the contest math. So last year was a special number, extremely special number, because 2025 is a square of a number, which is 45 squared. And it can also be written in multiple different ways. And each of these, as the presentation will be shared with you, I would encourage you to look for the connections. How are these different sequences, series, sums are connected to the number 2025? The next question is, how many factors does a number have? And that's a very important skill to have. Once someone gives you a number, just say a number like 25, not a 2025, just a simple number 2025. Well, how many factors is that going to have? And there are some tricks that you can use. 25 is just 5 squared. So it's going to have just simply 3 factors, right? 1, 5, and 25. And that's because it's just a unique 5 squared is 5 is a prime number, and you square it, you get 25, and the exponent is 2, so you just add 1. So these simple tricks like that you can you should master to get to the factors of a number. And once you know the factors of a number, you should also be able to get to what are the sums of all those factors of the numbers. And we'll skip over that in interest of time, but just to give you flavor and the excitement, the possibilities that math problem solving and some of the tools that you're going to learn present to you. So I'm just want to go to the last thing here. 2025 is a perfect square. The question is, which year will be the next perfect square year? Since 45 square is 2025, the next one will be 46 square, and that is 2116. So we got to wait another 91 years before we get to the next perfect square year. And that's an incredibly privileged time that we had last year, that we were able to see a year that was perfect square. And the other thing to keep in mind is, now that we are in 2026, the question is, what is special about this year? Well, 2025 was incredibly special. What about 2026? Well, it's not a perfect square year, obviously, because we have to wait another 90 years. But 2026 has something very special in itself. For example, 2026 is almost a prime number. It's not quite a prime number, because next year will be prime, but this year is almost a prime. And in order to look for a prime number, we have to be sure that it only has 2 factors, 1 and itself. But in this case, 2026, it has basically 3 unique factors, 1, 2, and 1013. Okay, so those numbers that are almost a prime have this kind of property. So one other thing that is it kind of leads from this is 2026, although it's not a prime number, it is a special number in the sense it is called deficient number. And what do we mean by that? Sum of all the factors of 2026 add up to less than 2026. And what are those three factors? 1, 2, and 1013. If you add them up, it's less than 2026. But what about numbers that are not deficient? They're called abundant numbers. For example, 12 is an abundant number. In this case, the sum of the factors of 12 exceed 12. In this case, if you look for the factors of 12 and add them up, that gets to 16, which is more than 12. And then, in contrast, we also have something called perfect number. A perfect number is something that has factors add up to itself, such as 6. So 6 would be 1 plus 2 plus 3. These are the three factors of 6, not including the number 6. It adds up to 6, so that's called a perfect number. The question is, and this should be always in your mind, when someone gives you a new concept, try to apply it. So the question is, well, 6 is a perfect number. What is the next perfect number? And that is a homework assignment for you, and you'll be amazed what the next perfect number is. The hint is it's less than 30. Okay, so you don't have to go too far. The 2026 is also called a happy number. What we mean by happy number is if you take all the numbers, all the digits in 2026 and square them up, right? 2 squared, 0 squared, 2 squared, and then 6 squared, you get to 444. And now if you take that and square the digits again and keep doing this, ultimately you end up with 1. Okay, so there are not that many numbers that are happy numbers, and 2026 is a happy number. So again, if you just explore this with even your birthday, your birth date, and see, is my birthday a happy number, abundant number, or perfect number? That would be a fun exercise. So we want to apply some concepts based on this number 2026 and ask ourselves some simple questions. And the reason for putting these up is to give you kind of like a window into the excitement and fun for math that you can develop. So if the two numbers are given to you as 26 and the difference is 6, the sum is 26 and difference is 6. What are the two numbers? And you can find that in less than a second, the answer to that. So that is, again, building on the mental math skills. All you have to do is just add up the two numbers, 26 and 6, and divide them by 2. And then that gives you 16. If one of the numbers is 16, the other number is 10. So see how easy it was? Add them up, and divide by 2. And that gives you the answer. And that does not need any paper, calculator, anything. Next one is if the sum is 2026 and the difference is 26, what are the numbers? Now, why we put that up is just to give you extra challenge. See if you can apply that concept and build on it. Next one is what is the largest rectangular area that you can enclose with a fence that is 20-meter long? So if the fence is 20-meter long, right, and you want to know what is the largest area, well, intuitively, it must be a square because we're talking about a rectangular area. And that the answer will be very simple. If the each side is 5, the area will be 25. What if the fence is 26-meter long? Now it's not going to be easily divisible by 4, so you can't have, because we want integer lengths. So that's a challenge for you. Take that number and see what's the largest area that you can enclose with this. And similarly, what is the smallest area that you can enclose with this? And that would be a fun homework problem for you to attempt. So another thing about 2026 that I found out today is that it's a year of winning champions. So if you have aims and goals of becoming a champion, this is the year. For example, it has the letter A and the Y. If you add them up, you get 20. And if you take the winning and the champion and add them up, you get 2026. So it's the year, it's a special year. So a couple other quick problems that I'll share with you, and hopefully it will strike your interest and generate enthusiasm for participating in our contests that are coming up in just a few weeks, is this kind of problem. This has been a problem that has appeared in Math B contests before. And I was approached by students after the contest and say, how do you solve this problem? I have no idea. And it turns out if you spend a couple of minutes pondering over it, looking at it, it is an easy problem, and it gives you a sense of how to build problem-solving skills. So this is a geometry logic type problem. So question is, we have a square that is, each side is 10, and we also have this funny shape in the middle, which looks like a football, right? Or an ellipse. I want to know what's the area. So if you look at it and ponder it and look back, you'll find that the shape is formed by two quarter circles. So here, if you put your the center of the circle where my cursor is, and then just kind of draw a quadrant, right? And that becomes a quarter circle, or a sector, 1/4 of a circle. Similarly, if you put your center on this point, and again repeat the process, you find that you get another quarter circle on this side. So we're going to exploit that geometry pattern. We have a square and two quarter circles. So if we go here, what do we find? We say that this case, right? In this case, why don't we just go back one more step? If I take the two quarter circles, right? The quarter circle from this end, the quarter circle from this end, and then just kind of add them up, right? What I will find is that this is same as the area of the square plus this funny shape, right? Because this is counted twice. So just from a simple logic perspective, all you need to do is add up the two quarter circles and subtract the area of the square, and you get this. See how easy that is? And that in a lot of words and letters and numbers I'm trying to show here. So if once your mind gets accustomed to what we're trying to do, right? In this case, the area of the square is 100. That's very easy. And the area of each quarter circle, because the radius is 10, is 25, right? 1/4 of 100 pi. And then the other quarter circle, also 25 pi. So if you add them up, you get 50. So 50 pi is the area, the sum of the two quarter circles, and the area of the square is 100. So it's just 50 pi minus 100, right? So it takes more time to explain all these statements and less time for your mind to grab onto the concept that here this purple color shape is counted twice. Last thing that I want to share with you is this is a problem that appears in our contests a lot. Quickly find out how many squares are given in a given shape. So here we have a 3x3 square, 3 squares in the horizontally, and 3 squares in the vertical columns, and total, obviously there are 9 squares. But is that the final answer? No, because you can also have bigger squares, like this big square is a 2x2 square. Similarly, this big square is another 2x2 square, so forth. So if you were to attempt to do this manually, like one by one, A, you could miss a few squares. B, you're going to spend a lot of time, and that's going to eat up your time from the solving other problems. So can we find a pattern? Can we do it quickly? And I put in a big challenge here, less than 10 seconds. And that's if you know the concepts, if you know how to do it, most problems should be able to solve that fast, definitely within 30 seconds, and no more than a minute if you know the pattern, right? And because we don't allow you any calculators, anything in the competition, which actually is a blessing, because the time it takes for you to pick up the calculator, punch the numbers, is going to be taking you longer time. So how do we approach this, and how do we find a pattern? And that's what I will discuss in the next couple of minutes. So well, using our simple principle, start simple and build on it. So we're not going to go to that 3x3 square. We're going to go with a 2x2 square. So in a 2x2 square, how many 1x1 squares are there, like these little guys? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And how many big 2x2 squares are there? Well, there's only one, right? So there's total of 4 little squares and 1 big square. That gives me 5. So you can think of this as a pattern where I have uh, uh, 2 square, which is gives me if I go to 3, I can do the same thing. There are 1 by 1 squares that are 9, so that is simply 3 square. And then 2 squares, there are 4, that is 2 square. Finally, 3 by 3 squared, which is only 1, which is 1. So if you all 14. So anytime you're given a problem like this, you just simply start with 3 by 3, which is square, then 2 by 2, 4, then 1 by 1. And if you're given anything bigger, more complex, you just build it up. It's just going to be sums of all the square numbers. And finally, I'll put a challenge for you. How many squares in this chessboard? Now, you've seen that with what we did. This should not be so intimidating. You can do it. So what I tried to share with you is some simple logical type problems with geometry and pattern recognition, building from simple, going to more complex, and then saying, see, that wasn't hard, right? So with that, I will, because champions have already shared this, I'm going to say thank you for your attention, and we will be opening this up for question and answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Anil, and thank you, Dr. Raj, Dr. Sripriya, and the panelists. Before Sripriya, if we can ask the other questions, there is a couple of questions that I think one is for the asynchronous coaching. I think Harini, I think you had mentioned, right? So someone is asking how to register for that. How to register for asynchronous coaching. Is that through the NorthSouth portal also, right? Or
I believe so. It should be through the NorthSouth portal on the website.
I see. And probably there'll be an email communication going out soon, right? So that way
Yeah.
parents know how to. Okay, thanks. And Sripriya, I think there is questions for you related to the AMC 10, AMC 12 AME coaching. I think that should be offered in spring, I believe, right? Because you're preparing to offer it.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
We do.
And
we
so
do.
you have some information related to that and the AP classes and so on, right? One
Yes.
related question was AMC 8. I know previously we only offered AMC 10, 12, but some parent is asking if AMC 8 also will have coaching or workshop. So if you can take that away.
So the math competitions are all somewhat interrelated. So the concepts are basically, for the most part, the same, and the panelists can add to that, in a bit once I'm done. So AMC 8 preparation will be very similar to math cons preparation and other middle school math contest preparation, including MB3. So what Harini was talking about, the asynchronous 12-week preparation, will also be very helpful for AMC 8. But I don't know how familiar parents here are with AMCs. AMC competitions are conducted by another organization. It's not NorthSouth. It is a Mathematic Association of America that conducts these contests. AMC stands for American Mathematics Contest, I think. So AMC 8 for any student that is in 8th grade and under. So even a 4th grader, if they are really into math, can take AMC 8, as did my son, just for the fun of it. I really liked Dr. Anil Sethi's presentation, multiple parts of it. So I want to reiterate that, doing math, especially math competitions, is a long-term thing. Especially if you really like doing it, just like anything else, just like your, any other extracurricular activities. So it's not just 1 year or 2 years or 3 years for that matter. As you have heard from our panelists, it starts at an young age, but you can start at any age, but you have to persist and persevere. So AMC 8 is a good start in addition to our NorthSouth Math Beast, once you get to that. And then AMC 10 and 12 are for 10th grades and under and 12th grades and under. And then it gets even more interesting after AMC 10, 12 because those students across the nation who score at or above a certain score, each year is different based on the difficulty of the contest and the performance of the students. So top, I think 5 to 7% of all AMC 10 and 12 takers are invited to do what's called an AME exam, American Invitational Mathematics Exam. And that itself is an honor that students can put on their resumes and CVs for college applications. Because, I've seen students do like, I'm a 5-time AME qualifier, 3-time AME qualifier, and all of that. So that's a prestige, an honor, but more importantly, fun in high school as well to continue with math, in addition to other competitions that are offered. And then the cream of the cream from AME, if you score above a certain level, will be invited for American either Junior Math Olympiad if you're 10th grade and under, or American Math Olympiad if you are in 11th and 12th grade. And then there is, a special summer camp for those. And then a few select will be on the International Math Olympiad team representing America. So it goes all the way up. Unlike spelling bee, which ends with 8th grade, at least as far as I know, if you choose math, you can continue your love with it, throughout your high school into college and beyond. So our team has been offering AMC 10 and 12 preparation classes. AMC 8, like I said, you can use the asynchronous classes that Harini said. For AMC 10, 12, I put in the chat, we will soon start offering like after AME is done this February. So February 21st is the start date. We'll have twice a week sessions on Saturday and Sunday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. So these are an hour and a half sessions. Live coaching, not asynchronous, by 4 coaches, 3 high school students and 1 college student who have achieved at least AME qualification or higher. Will be a total of 12 sessions. I don't know the cost. We don't do anything with the cost, and NorthSouth coaching leadership decides on the cost for each package. And then the last class will be on March 29th. Please know that these competitions for 2025-2026 season is already over. AMC 8 happens in January, and AMC 10 and 12 happens in November. So for 2025-2026 is done, but again, this is for long-term preparation. So this spring coaching is to jumpstart for the 2026 November AMC 10-12 and the 2027 January AMC 8. And we will use one of the popular books as a guide, which is the Art of Problem Solving book, Volume 1, the basics for this for the AMC 10-12 coaching. Any 8th to 11th grader, current 8th to 11th grader, because it will be 9th to 12th in the fall, is strongly encouraged to consider this if you're interested in math. If there are younger students who are high achieving and already taking AMCs and wanted to join the coaching, please email the NorthSouth coaching at northsouth.org, and we will consider enrollment on a case-by-case basis.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Sripriya, for all of the information.
Yeah, sorry, Vinay, I don't know if you want me to tell this now. So in addition to AMC, our team also puts together AP classes for STEM APs for high schoolers. So our team mainly focuses on high school math and STEM subjects. So we are finishing our fall/spring semester now, but we will soon start a summer semester for, starting in summer for AP Physics, AP Chemistry, Biology, Computer Science Applications, Calculus, AB, and BC, Pre-Calc. So these are the 6 subjects we have been offering for the last 2 years. Live coaching with high-achieving high schoolers, guided by a strong, committed, long-term NorthSouth adult volunteers as leads.
Priya, can you put this link on the chat? You said you put it on the chat box, right? That's a very important link.
And not a link, info about the AMC 10-12?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay. Yeah, well, you want me to put it in the question side as well?
Well, just put it someplace so parents can, download it.
Can
Talk
they
to
not
them.
see the chat?
That's what I
Yeah,
meant.
they
I
can,
meant put it in the chat
We
box.
do
it's in the
see.
chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already
Yeah, it's
put
in
it.
the chat.
Yeah.
Also,
Also,
we'll be sending. Yeah.
sorry, Vinay. What I want to do,
Go ahead.
kind of jump in and on piggyback on what Priya said, is there is a um, uh, um, Math B workshop that is coming up next month, and Raj, who is a Math Core team member, and myself are going to be co-hosting that. That's starting, I think, on February 21st.
21st, yes.
Yeah. So, Raj, do you want to say a few words about it?
Yes, definitely. No, we can go over we can cover. Mainly, you're going to cover MB3 for this session, right? For the February
Yeah.
21st session.
Yeah.
And also there is a request now. I think Vinay and also was talking about it, and we have to put in another 2 hours to coach MB1 and the MB2 students, and we'll come up with a date later once we're all ready to go for it. And I
Okay.
know, like, you're a good teacher. I'm sure you will be giving a lot of insights and learning tips going
Yeah.
forward for MB3 students. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Like
Dr.
Raj is
Nelson.
saying, that there is a lot of opportunities for students to learn. This session is one of them. Priya's incredible coaching
Yeah.
classes, and then the workshops that we are going to be hosting. Details to be worked out in a few days, but they are all being set up. And just feel free to reach out to NorthSouth for that. Over to you, Vinay.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Anil, Dr. Raj, and Dr. Sripriya. That is wonderful information because there is some high schoolers also when we did the poll. So they will be looking forward to the AP classes, which were very popular since the last 3 years when we saw they're being offered. There is request for adding new classes, and the team has been incredibly awesome creating all of these offerings. And so I think as Dr. Sripriya shared in the chat, you can find the AMC 10, 12 AME classes information there. And also, I think you can also, if you are a parent, when you log in, you would be able to see the AP offerings for high schoolers very soon. So please look out for the email communication. And Dr. Anil and Dr. Raj will be hosting the MB3 workshop on Feb 21st, right? So that also you'll see soon see email going out. So whoever has attended this session has got an overview of what to look for in the math contest, right? But then in that session, Dr. Anil and Dr. Raj will go through the topics that will be asked in MB3. So overview of those topics so that people who want to know more on how to go about the contest and how to prepare for it, right? It'll be very useful. So please do register for that. That one will also be available for you to register from the NorthSouth portal. So this one was a webinar that we hosted, a free webinar. That one you can register for that 2-hour session that will be on Feb 21st. So very soon we'll send out email communication on that. And
Yeah, Vinay, just to kind of follow up on what you just said, basically we will be providing problem solving tips and tricks, and also sharing some typical problems that they may encounter, and working out some of the problems, and going in more detail. So that's the purpose of the workshop. Sorry to interrupt.
Great, great. I think that's what is, thank you very much. I think that's what we wanted to share with them because there were questions in the panel, I mean, in the chat about those. So I think this is the good opportunity for people and the people who said who have not yet decided to participate, right? So they may be like, if they are new to NorthSouth or new to the contest, what they can expect and so on, right? That will be covered by Dr. Anil and Dr. Raj in that session, like what kind of problems you may see and how to
Yeah,
go about solving the problem.
yeah,
Vinay,
Vinay,
I just see that there are about 10 questions on AMCs
Yes.
and other things. I didn't see. If you don't mind, can I quickly just, I know we're
Yeah.
already over an
yeah,
hour.
sure, go ahead.
Rather than typing, I'll just go over each question. So somebody
Yeah.
asked, I heard one of our panelists talk about how she completed AP Calc PC in 8th grade. Would I know how it can be done? It's individual school basis. You know, you have to talk to your school team. if they are willing to accelerate. There are pros and cons to get accelerated in math in school. So just think deeply. If you have any questions, email me. And Habisha is my daughter, so I've gone through this with her and her older sister, so I can give you my insight as a parent on whether it's a good thing or not. Since USAJM and many students actually self-study for APs as well if your school doesn't offer. So you can take our courses to supplement your preparation, and your student can self-study and take the AP tests as well for all the AP subjects. Since USAJMO happens in March, will there be any support like short sessions? I would love for us to do that. Our NorthSouth membership, many of us, our parents are at least, new to AMCs. So that's my ultimate thing to offer preparation for JMO and AMO. So I was going to talk to Sharva later. We will have to find good coaches like Sharva and his older brother Satvik has also coached for us, and who has done the AMO before, and Harini as well. So I don't know if you will be able to do it in time for March. If you are qualified for JMO, or if you think you're qualified because AME is happening in February, please email me. We can see what we can do, but I really doubt we will be offering it this year, maybe in subsequent years. AMC 10 and 12 can only be registered by teachers. Will NorthSouth register for students, or students need to be pre-registered? Good question. So that's a limitation. There has to be, AMC 10 and 12 are not offered online to my knowledge, so it has to be a physical building. So so usually it's a school or a university that's offering it. So if your school doesn't offer, contact other local schools and see if your student can take it locally, or ask your local universities. And if they have not done it before, urge them to consider offering it next year. Again, these competitions are offered in November. So you can even reach out to NorthSouth regional directors. It depends on their familiarity, if they are willing to accommodate an offer. It's not that hard to offer or to host these competitions. MAA will work with them, but that is a limitation. NorthSouth as a national organization cannot offer it because it's not online.
So Sripriya, I think MA.org, it allows you to search for locations for these being offered locally. So what I've observed, like when Shreya was taking, was there is always a local university or even other coaching centers that do register for them, and you can go through them if your school is not allowing you.
True. Mathematical Association of America, MAA. If you can get an answer from AI for everything nowadays too. Kid from 5th grade and first time want to register, what will be the start point to catch fundamentals? Start with NorthSouth Math Bees, and math workshops, and that is a very good place to start. Build your community, like locally and nationally, like find other parents who are in the similar situation, and that's how at least our family grew. And that's why we are volunteering. And I want to say that many times I see that volunteering for NorthSouth becomes a family thing also. Like Harini's mom is Mrs. Priya Rajan, who's putting together this wonderful 12-week, asynchronous class for MB3. So Harini volunteers, Priya volunteers, Sharva volunteers, Sharva's older brother has volunteered. It's really, it could become a family thing. Will you offer AP statistics? We did once or maybe twice in the last 2 years. Unfortunately, there was not a lot of interest from membership in terms of student enrollment. So we don't offer it anymore. If there's a strong membership, you can, if there is a strong interest, we need at least 10 students who will register and continue the classes. So if there is interest, just email coaching@northsouth.org. We can consider for subsequent years for sure, including starting this summer. We have the material. If there is interest, we can find coaches and get it done. Any tips on how to handle when you feel overwhelmed, when you see difficult or appear difficult math problems? I guess that will go to Havisha, Harini, or Sharma. So any tips on how to handle when you feel overwhelmed, when you see a difficult, or at least it seems to be difficult, when you see a math problem that's difficult for you, at the first sight?
Yeah, so something that can help when you're dealing with some harder problems that maybe you aren't able to solve immediately is sometimes it can help to kind of spend as much time as you can, see what progress you can make, and sometimes it can help to maybe even take a break from the problem. Maybe see if sometimes actually when you take a break from a problem and you come back to it later, you'll actually think of it in a different way. Your brain will passively be thinking about how to solve it, and so you'd be surprised how effective that is. Also, sometimes it can actually help, especially if it's like much harder than something you can solve. Sometimes it can be useful to actually read the solution and see how to approach it, and instead view it as an opportunity to kind of learn a new concept, a new way of approaching the problem, so that in the future you can solve similar problems.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Sharma.
Wait, sorry,
Yeah.
if I could just add one more thing. I completely second the idea of taking a bit of time from the problem and then coming back to it. But one of the things that I always tell my students is to write out everything that's going on in your mind, especially for a problem like AMC, where you have more time, it's not based on speed. If you write down everything that's going on in your mind, and this is even for problems that you don't get stuck on, when you come back to review, you can easily check for silly mistakes. You can see exactly what you were thinking and exactly where you went wrong. And so rather than trying to wrap your mind, trying to think of how you solve the problem, you'll have it right there and it'll save you a lot of time and energy later on.
I think maybe just one thing, like one really quick thing is that I think what I've found a lot to be true is that when you look at like really hard problems or problems that look really hard, for example, on competitions, it's a lot like a large part of it is just that you're not seeing immediately the strategy that makes everything easy. And so what I think is really helpful is just in your mind going over, I think before the contest, like in your mind going over like what are the strategies that I can apply to counting and probability problems. And if you have like a list of those strategies, like, oh, I can use recursion, I can make small cases, I can make like I can try small cases, I can use recursion, I can et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I can try complementary counting, which is counting all the things that I don't want to count and then subtracting that from the total. Like if you have that list of strategies, you can sort of mentally you can go through that list, and that's like something that's fixed, that's there for you when you're already kind of nervous because you're in that competition, right? And so when you're looking at a hard problem, going through that list and just kind of going down that list and seeing which strategy might apply to this can also help, I think.
Yeah, there is a question on
I
the
think,
chat, like basically
yeah, go ahead, Raj.
for all student speakers. It says, what were some of the extremely helpful things that helped you to qualify to AME, or further that could help me too? Basically, they're asking what are the extremely helpful things that helped you to qualify for AME?
Yeah, so specifically for the AME, the first time I qualified, I think for the AMCs in general, there is a huge bank of questions, many, many years that stretch back early 2000s, some problems even from earlier from other contests. And so I think the best thing to do, especially for qualifying for the AME, is just run through those problems. There's a lot of options. They all have solutions. And just go through those problems, maybe do a test a day, set up a schedule for finishing them. And finishing all the tests and understanding how to solve the harder problems should be enough to qualify for the AME.
Thank you, Sharon.
I think we only have 2 minutes left on the webinar.
One thing I wanted to add on to what just quickly, I wanted to say what the student said earlier about, whenever you're overwhelmed, I think finding a simpler problem that is connected to the problem that you're doing and finding a pattern that really helps a lot. So, and also taking a break. So great tips. Thanks, students.
Yeah.
I think one last final thing, sorry. Don't take it as a pressure, especially for parents too, not just for the students. Just enjoy the process, and it was hard for me as a parent to come into terms with. Success is not defined by any medals or scores, anything. Like as long as you're continuing to do better, that really, it's cliche, but that's what matters. And you should enjoy doing what you're doing. So then the stress becomes less also.
Yeah, it's a related question, Sripriya, here for the panelists. It says, any tips on how to handle when you feel overwhelmed, when you see a difficult problem, math problems basically. Any tips how to handle when you feel overwhelmed when you see difficult problems? So any panelists, student panelists, any tips to handle like overwhelming of the math, the difficult problems when you see how to take it or solve it or how to seek help from someone?
Yeah, I feel like we kind of covered that already, but just to
Yeah.
answer that question in a broader sense on how, if you feel overwhelmed in general, not just with a specific problem, my math journey was a little different from most people's. It kind of stagnated during COVID, and then after that, I got back into it. And so I speak from personal experience when I say that it's very easy to compare yourself to other kids or get really overwhelmed when suddenly all the problems seem like you're unable to solve them. So I would just say take a deep breath. Comparison is one of the worst things that you can do. So never look at what other people are doing, only work to improve yourself. And just because you're not going to be able to solve every single problem out there, but just work on one problem at a time. Don't feel overwhelmed looking at the big picture. Just go small steps at a time, and it makes it a lot easier for you.
Okay, thank you.
So I think we are at the end of the session. Thank you everyone for joining today. And thanks to our great panelists and moderators for helping answer all the questions and providing all the overview about Math B3, Math competitions, as well as all our offerings for helping students learn math. Please be on the lookout for the email communication about the MB3 workshop on Feb 21, and we will also be looking to add MB1 and MB2 workshops soon.
Yeah.
And also Sri Priya, I think, will be gathering and sending information about the ANC classes that you guys asked about and the AP classes that's going to be offered in spring. And so the panelists
classes
that
in spring, we are finishing it out, but AMC classes, yes.
yes,
Summer
okay,
we'll
thanks.
have AP and AMC again.
Okay, APs and all will be summer. Okay. Also, thanks Harini, Havisha, Sherva for all your experience, sharing your experiences, and thanks Dr. Anil, Dr. Raj, and Dr. Sri Priya. Hope to see you in the next webinar next week. That will be on spelling and vocabulary. Please register today for that, and also please register for the regional contests that are in March and April in your nearest chapter. And hope to see you next week. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Vinay and
Thank you,
panelists.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Vinay.
Priya.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.